Hello and welcome back to the Bird's Eye View podcast. We are here shortly after Game 7 of the World Series. I'm your host, Zach Worden, joined as always by Jori Negin-Shecter. I don't think we need to get into the whole lead-in spiel here tonight, Jori, because the Toronto Blue Jays have lost the World Series to the Dodgers after a 5-4 extra inning loss in heartbreaking fashion. They were 2 outs away. They were they were up 4-2 heading into the eighth, and the Dodgers hit solo homers in the eighth, the ninth, and the 11th to come away with their second straight championship.
I don't think heartbreak does justice to the absolute unfathomable loss that Blue Jays fans just experienced. Before we hit the record button, we talked about all-time losses, and this one's up there in sports history, never mind in baseball history. This is a snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. This is a Toronto sports rears its ugly head. This is a the improbable meets the impossible. This is the worst loss of my lifetime. This is this is 20 this is 2022 rolled in with the Leafs of 2013, rolled in with the Jays of 85, rolled in with the Jays letting the division slip away to the Tigers in the late 80s, rolled in with the Ben Revere strike three call and the Amish guy in the outfield against the Royals. This is all of that rolled into one. This is a saw the finish line to the point where I hit the record button on my phone to catch my reaction to a potential World Series victory, only to record myself reacting to Miguel Rojas breaking my heart. The Blue Jays somehow, some way, despite outscoring the Dodgers in many ways out hitting the Dodgers, in some ways out pitching the Dodgers, somehow, some way, and I don't think I will ever get over this, have lost the World Series in 7 freaking games. I know we're not a swearing podcast, so I'll bite my tongue, but man, there were a couple of very emphatic yells in an empty OMP parking lot, and the echoes, like something out of a movie, were just ringing out. Uh, Plenty of expletives to go around after just a tragic loss, and there's no other way to put this one.
It's the hope that kills you, right? And this Blue Jays team, man, they gave you a lot of reasons to hope this year. Um,
They gave you a lot of reasons to hope late in the ball game, even. We can get even granular to that point. This is a team that by StatCast was well over 90% to win the World Series. This was in the bag. This was over. This was done. And I just don't have the words. I just don't. I know we've got a podcast. The idea is that we want to talk for a living. And, I don't envy anyone that's got a talk show in or in the morning that's got to discuss this one. 2 hours of Blue Jays talk to me sounds like hell on earth.
yeah, I mean, like just it's the elation of sports that comes with the other side of it where it just hurts because you care so much, right? And that's the beauty of sports fandom is the reward that when you kind of reach the mountaintop and you can taste it, right? Like you said, they're 2 outs away. Miguel Rojas hits the game tying home run off of Jeff Hoffman, who hadn't given up a run yet in this postseason.
Hadn't given up
And
a run yet. I hadn't even thought of that.
and it's just it rips your heart out, right? And I think, we don't have to totally go dive into the game as much as we kind of have been throughout this playoff run, going, kind of big moment by big moment, but the way that it unfolded, right? You get the Bo homer. Like that is a franchise defining moment ready to go down in history, right? The 3-run homer, they chase Shohei. You get Trey Savage coming in. You get Max Scherzer coming off the mound, getting a standing ovation from the Rogers Center after 4 1/3 innings of 1-run ball. Like he was pretty solid. He was way better than I thought he was going to be. And obviously you go out the rest of that game and you get like the Dalton Varsho diving catch. You get the Vladdy diving catch. Like there was the trademarks of this great Blue Jays team in this game where they're playing great defense. Bo comes up with the big swing. You're getting solid effort from your pitching. And then Miguel Rojas is the one that, I think he had 2 home runs since the All-Star break or something like that. Like just not a guy who you would ever think is going to come through in that situation. And he hits it off of Jeff Hoffman. And it is tough to put into words like what unfolded tonight. It's one of the best World Series games of all time. But it doesn't really matter, right? Because you're on the wrong side of it. And for, Blue Jays fans, right? Like you and I are of the age that we didn't experience the 92 and 93 championships, right? So this was the first time in our lifetimes that we had seen the Blue Jays play in a World Series. And to get that close, 2 outs away, and you say you're recording, I was standing up in the press box, like pacing a little bit, like kind of, I was ready to record the third out with my phone, right? And just for it to end that way, and then they have the opportunities after that, right? I believe you have the Ernie Clement ball to the outfield that Andy Pajes covers so much ground to go and get. You have Vlad leads off the 11th with the double just for Kirk to have a broken bat double play and end the season. And just when you never know that it's going to come back around, right? You never know when there's going to be an opportunity like that for this franchise again. Um, you certainly hope that the pieces are there for them to be able to build it back up and find their way back. But I mean, we've seen it time and time again with many teams across baseball that there is certainly never any guarantee of postseason glory, of October glory, of World Series glory. Even, you look at this Dodgers team, right? They have all the talent in the world. They have this huge payroll, and they were they were 2 outs away from not winning the World Series, right? And you want to go to the Mets, who had a higher payroll, they don't even make the playoffs. So, you can throw money at issues all the time, but there's just something special about this Blue Jays team that feels like it's going to be really hard to recapture, and something that was unquantifiable about them all season that led to tonight's game.
It's just impossible to even explain. This is a team that led the league in comeback wins. They damn near came back again tonight. This was a team, that it seemed like it all came together. For years now, we've talked about, oh, Vlad was going or Bo was going, but neither in the same year. And there was all those years of the pitching being so-so, and it was all these questions of exactly how they were going to maneuver. And they go out and they trade for Shane Bieber, and Trey Savage emerges as a bona fide postseason ace. And it just everything about this season was just so team of destiny. It just felt like a team of destiny thing. And all of a sudden, the baseball gods, fickle as they may be, ultimately decided that it wasn't meant to be after all. And I think the scary thing is you can look at this as the start of a window, but in a lot of respects, this is the end of a window. Bo Bichette, free agent. Chris Bassett, free agent. Shane Bieber, free agent. And we'll get into all of this, in our kind of decompress episode that we've got coming up in just a few days after they speak in the season wrap and the locker clear out. But it's just, like you said, you never know when you're going to get this opportunity again. And it really feels like this was a perfect storm. And they were literally mere moments away from doing the thing.
What was your reaction to the Bo homer?
Elation. I called my girlfriend and we screamed at each other into the phone for about 5 seconds before I had to get back to work. Uh, the newsroom was electric. The yelp from in the control room even was incredible, and this disbelief of oh my goodness, this is them putting their stamp on things. I came into the game with so much pessimism because it felt like, Scherzer against Ohtani, what a mismatch. And the Dodgers were just going to not go to their bullpen, which by and large they didn't. They leaned on all of their starters. And nevertheless, the Jays just couldn't close it. They pick up that huge insurance run after the Dodgers make it 3-2, and only for that to mean nothing. And it's just immense frustration. And I'm sure that it's the same in the clubhouse. There was all of this video going around of guys in tears. Vlad was bawling in the dugout, and Clement talked about crying for an hour post game. And there was this really
Even
emotional hug between Bassett and Scherzer, or excuse me, Bassett and Schneider.
well, I was gonna say, like, even Max Scherzer's post game, like, that was a dude who looked like he had been crying as well, right? And like, this is a 41-year-old who's reached the mountaintop, who's seen everything you can in baseball, and you can just tell like how much this team meant to him. And I think that that speaks volumes. Like, this is a guy who has been like, he's been on the Dodgers, he's been on the World Series winning Nationals, he was on the World Series winning Rangers, and for it to mean so much to him and for him to be such a big part of it, and for him to have the struggles and be left off the ALDS roster and come back and have this, and the fact that the Blue Jays reinstilled some joy in him to make him want to pitch at 42. Like, yes, there's been a lot of made of how much Max Scherzer impacted the Blue Jays this year, but to me it seems like they impacted him just as much in getting him back to being, he said it after the game that like he's just had so much fun this year, and being around this team and all of that, and I think just to see like a guy like that, it's just so crazy to me that um that, that really, just it shows you what this team meant to each other, and that it was 1 through 26, it was 1 through 30, um just a really, really special environment. And you just never know what's going to happen with that, right? Especially for a guy like that who's a free agent. We already mentioned Bassett and Bo and Bieber, and you want to throw like IKF in there, and there's surely more moves to come, but it's having been in not a major league clubhouse, right? Like, by no means have I ever been near a major league clubhouse, but I think having played like college baseball or whatever. Like there's always something emotionally draining about the last game of the year because you know that's the last time you're going to be in that group, on that bus, in the hotels, on the field, in the practice field, with that group of guys. And for a team that has done as much as this team has and come together as much as they have, I just cannot imagine the emotions going through every single one of those guys, knowing the fact that this is it.
I just don't have the words. I think you've put it very, very clearly there that this team was the team of destiny until it wasn't.
Well, I mean, I'll say this, right? Like we'll define team of destiny by World Series championships and everything, but there was something different about this team, I think. Obviously, the past month has been incredible, like draining at times, absolutely for us. But seeing the way that this team specifically captured the imagination of a country, right? And I get that, sometimes maybe the country thing is a little overplayed, but I think like seeing pictures of people in Saskatchewan watching the games on the side of a grain elevator and knowing, the passion that people in BC had, especially after the Mariners series and seeing it in Alberta, seeing it in on the East Coast. Like this was a team of destiny to me because they changed baseball in the country and it's so powerful sports and wow. Um it's just so powerful what like one team like this can do where they create a generation of fans. They make lasting memories and become heroes for people coast to coast. And I get that it sucks that it ends today, but their impact will live on for a really, really long time.
Ernie
And I
Clement
think
is
I
never going to buy another beer in this
no,
city, maybe not in this country.
no, it's incredible. And I get emotional thinking about it. I think about the 2015 and 16 teams and like coaching baseball around that time in Calgary and the amount of Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, um, Kevin Pillar t-shirts and jerseys and stuff that you see all around. And like this is a team that's going to do that again, but like probably to an even greater degree because they made it to the World Series and because it was this group of likable dudes that was enjoyable to turn the TV on and watch every day. I think, obviously for us, like we're so dialed in and watching it all the time, but like for a casual baseball fan who doesn't watch 180 some games of this team. Like what a treat to kind of jump on the bandwagon or whatever for the rest of this playoff run. And like I'm getting texts from people that I haven't heard from in years because of what's going on with this team. Like just the amount that this team brought people together, like it's something that I don't think I'll ever forget is the 2025 Blue Jays. And we'll get into like you mentioned we're going to have like a full decompress episode, but I think now is just it sucks that they lost, but there is such a bigger picture as well that without the ring, yes, the ring would have would have certainly been nice for them to finish it, especially having gotten so close, but there's parts of this that were just so magical along the way that I am gonna have to take some time to like actually reflect on it and on just like what this team has done over the entire summer, but especially over the past month.
Well, even let's look at you and I and this channel. I mean, obviously we put out a lot of stuff this month, but we went from probably 100 subscribers to more than 250. That's an insane amount of growth for a small channel in that amount of time. And it speaks to how Blue Jays fans have just come out of every inch and every crevice of this country to cheer the team on. And for us, like, what a blessing it's been to be able to spend the last month taking the time every night to chat about this incredible run. We thought this was going to be a week or two of us talking about the Blue Jays until they inevitably found a way to break your heart in the ALDS. And somehow, some way, here we are recording a Game 7 episode. And yeah, it doesn't end the way you want it to, but just what a team. What an incredible year. And you hope it's not the last of it, and certainly it'll be impossible to ever replicate the magic of this team. Like, this is going to go down as outside of those 92 and 93 teams as a year that people tell their grandchildren about,
Yeah.
without a question. And to be alive to experience it, to have the opportunity to go through it with you, with my girlfriend, with my family, with my friends, with the people around me, with I've got a friend that hasn't watched a Blue Jays game in his life. And after the Bichette home run, he flips me a text going, "Hey, did you just see that?" This guy couldn't. I said, "Yeah, that Bo home run with HR." I said, "That Bo HR was incredible." And he goes, "I don't know what that acronym means." And he was locked in, texting me about the
You
Bo
didn't
home
text
run.
him back and be like, no, what are you talking about?
It's just like you said, this team is going to have
A lasting.
wide-reaching impacts. If you'll allow me to joke at a somber time like this, the 2037 or 2038 WBC team
Yeah.
is going to be a wagon
Yeah.
because it's going to be 15 Ernie Clements and 15, Trey Savages. It's crazy to think that this team, what they accomplished, even without, doing the thing, like you said, just a legacy team without even a shred of doubt in my mind, especially where they started the season.
Yeah, it's been such a cool season, and obviously made even cooler by what they did in October. And I guess we're sitting here on November 2nd at this point. But with that, you mentioned, how much growth that we've had as a channel and how cool it's been for us to kind of see some of the numbers go up. And I know, we'll have further time to do this, but I do want to thank people for tuning in and listening to us. I know, for some reason people have flipped on our channel and listened to us after games and stuff and kind of stuck with us throughout the playoffs, and that's been um so meaningful to us to see people along for the ride, people staying in the comment section and engaging with us and with the videos and stuff. It's just been so cool. And it like you said, it just speaks to the emotions that this Blue Jays team evoked. And it's been you know like one of the best months of my life, I would say. It's been incredible for everything that's gone on. I know, it's been some late nights for you and I, Jory, but I mean, I wouldn't take it back for anything.
Wouldn't trade it for anything.
Um, Post game stuff, I mean, we kind of mentioned the Ernie and the Bassett and the Scherzer, the Vlad. The Ernie post game avail, like, hit hard. The emotions that were there. Was there kind of anything that stood out to you amongst what the guys were saying? I mean, it was just so much like, I don't want to end the year. I think, the Ernie thing was just so crazy, where he's like, I'm just thinking about spending this night with the fellas. And that's all these guys wanted to do, right? They just wanted to spend time with the fellas and hang out with their best friends.
I think it's exactly that. There was so much pride for the team from top to bottom. You know, John Schneider in his post-game video talked about how they've set a new standard for the team, and
Yeah.
Gosman was talking about how if there was a game nine because they already played eight, they're sure they'd go in there and be competitive and potentially win that one. Just the whole entire team. The whole postseason, the whole World Series after every loss and after every heartbreaker, we heard over and over again that it was a team that bounced back. And they were damn near ready to bounce back after this one too.
I guarantee, yeah, if there was a game eight, I would probably feel pretty confident about them being able to shake it off and win that one. Unless Yoshinobu Yamamoto was on the mound.
Man. There used to be Lebronto, now it's Yoshi, what is it? What was it? Yamamoranto. It took me a couple tries.
Man, like we can maybe do like a second of Dodgers here. Obviously, congrats to them, like super team, whatever. You're gonna roll your eyes. Um,
They're going to cause a salary cap. They're going to cause a 2027 lockout. They're going to break baseball. And, you know, the repercussions, we'll see what the repercussions of this one are. But this is going to be very interesting in about 18 months.
um, yeah. Yamamoto, though, I mean, we said it after yesterday's episode, like just completely like blown away by what he did. And for him to come back on
Scooble,
on 0 days rest,
Skeens,
yeah.
Yamamoto.
I think like he put himself in a conversation today of like if you need to win a ball game, he's on your short list of guys that you're turning to. And I think it's crazy that the Dodgers to beat the Blue Jays had to go to a game seven, right? The Blue Jays, we've talked about it all. Caleb Joseph had his thing after the game where he was talking about, the better team lost the series, whatever. And we talked all along the Blue Jays have kind of been the better team throughout the series. Absolutely. Even today, um, they out hit the Dodgers 14-11 and had the lead and it's one swing, it's two swings, whatever. But the fact that, this Dodgers team that is supposedly one of the greatest assemblies of talent ever and the Blue Jays outplayed them and took them this far into the series says a heck of a lot about this like scrappy group of guys who weren't even projected to make the postseason. And I mean Yamamoto, like the Dodgers turned to all four of their starters in this game, right? The Dodgers' biggest weakness entering the series was their bullpen, and by getting to a game seven, they were able to not have to use it, right? It was Shohei, it was Glasnow, it was Snell, it was Yamamoto, it was Emmett Sheehan, which was when he was warming up I was kind of like, well, maybe that's hopefully you can get to him. And it was Robleski who had the weird bases clearing benches clearing moment with Jimenez, but um in a series of stars, Yamamoto was really impressive.
MVP
A
for a
reason.
multitude of reasons. It's crazy that Vlad Jr. had a heroic postseason. Ernie Clement set records for the
Yeah, I'm glad you
postseason.
brought that up because like most hits in a single postseason, obviously it's a little different when the wild card didn't used to be a thing, but like
But to be fair, it was ALDS, ALC. I mean, this he could have had this postseason in 1997.
yeah, no, 100%. So they played, what would it be? They played 18 games in this postseason. Ernie had a hit in all of them except for two.
Craziness.
Like
Bananas.
that is a guy like he was, if you want to embody the 2025 Blue Jays, I think he's kind of the guy. And
Yeah,
I mean, incredible like for him, like what a season. Just to be like kind of a part of this core going forward now.
for sure. I was just gonna even add to that, just in terms of the heroics of this postseason. On the Dodgers front, Shohei Ohtani had a game where he got on base nine times.
Yep.
Yamamoto, far and away the most important player on the Dodgers this
Yeah.
postseason. Nobody even in his stratosphere.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, he pitched in 3 games. He earned 3 wins in the World Series,
First
and
player since I think it was it Randy
Randy
Johnson?
Johnson. Yeah, and like it's been a while. Like to me, that what he did in this series was like Madison Bumgarner level of put the team on my back that we haven't really seen from a starter since Mad Bum did that for the Giants. And honestly, this was probably a little more than that, given how the Blue Jays offense looked in all of the games that he didn't pitch.
Bananas.
It's a heck of a series. An all-timer, people are saying, but once again, you know, as we're sitting here right now, you probably have to take like a month or a couple of years before you'll look back on it and be like, man, what a what a series.
This one will be all the more sweet when those 2026 Blue Jays lose to the Dodgers again in the World
Oh my
Series.
God, I can't believe you just said that.
Uh,
Uh,
just to make sure, just to triple down and make sure that we get that 2027 lockout.
Oh man. Well, anybody else that you're particularly impressed by? I think the Trey Savage stuff, like I mean, we've done so much Trey Savage this year, but he goes over the 150 or 140 innings pitched threshold in this game and like how the crowd pop when he came in out of the bullpen was so cool and um
Addison Barger,
what
I
a
think, is
cool
another
pitcher.
guy
Yeah.
also. I'd like to give some love
Yeah.
to. Just again, 1 through 15, 1 through 25, 1 through 40, if you want to really stretch things.
Shout out Jonathan Clase.
These Blue Jays, man, this close, this bloody close.
And that's why it hurts. That's why it's a straight dagger. Don't know if you can put any better emotions, any better words to it. It's gonna sting for a while. And man, I can't believe that it's over as we sit here right now. Like what am I gonna do tomorrow? How am I not gonna be thinking about the next game of the playoff series? When I flip on the Arizona Fall League games tomorrow. It is not going to live up to the way that the World Series was. Um, man, yeah. Well, you got anything else, or you're drained for tonight?
I'm spent.
Yeah.
Off-season content coming soon. Blue Jays better spend $300 billion this winter.
Uh, well, like I said before, thank you to everybody who's tuned in and who's rode with us along the way. It has been a true pleasure for us to do this. And Jory, thank you to you for hopping on the mics with me and recording every night. Always obviously enjoy getting to chat and getting to do this with you. It is a true pleasure to have built this over the course of the years into what it's become. And it's so enjoyable for me to do this with you and have something that we're able to call our own and produce every day, every week, every month, and
You're gonna
looking
make me
forward to.
blush, man.
Yeah.
You know what, Zach? It's all the same love to you. This has been such a privilege, and we've said it off air, and I'll say it on air. No plans of going anywhere anytime soon.
No plans of going anywhere. We will definitely be back with, I think the plan for us is to do a little bit of a season wrap over the course of the upcoming week, and then we will start to transition into our off-season content, and we will definitely have our minor league season in review series all wrapped up eventually. Obviously, we took a little bit of a break from that, but stay tuned because we'll be back probably sooner than we had originally thought, but like I said, always a joy. So if you're listening on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. If you're listening along on the audio provider of your choice, make sure to drop a follow and review. You can always follow us all on Twitter. I am at Worden_Zach. Jori is at Jori Negin-Shecter, and the pod is at BEV_pod. Thanks so much for listening, and enjoy the days.
Whatever's next.
Whatever's next.